Hi, I'm not a psychologist. I'm just someone learning English by listening to quiet psychological stories. This one explains why something you were called as a child was never who you really were.
Have you ever watched a child shrink the moment attention turns toward them? Not because anything went wrong, but because being seen suddenly felt too bright. Their shoulders rise, their fingers tighten, their eyes drop, and something inside folds without a sound. Nothing dramatic happens. No one is cruel, but the child becomes smaller anyway. Most people call this shyness. They say the child is soft, fragile, or lacking confidence. But that explanation misses something important. Shyness is not the absence of courage. It is the memory of danger, learned early, stored quietly, and carried forward in the body. Because when a child pulls back like this, there is always a cost they are trying to avoid. And here is the part that matters most. A shy child is not hiding from people. They are hiding from exposure, from being seen before they feel safe enough to survive it. And that retreat already shapes their life, long before anyone notices. You've seen this before. A child stands at the doorway of a birthday party, gripping a parent's sleeve as the room buzzes with laughter. They want to go in, you can feel it, but their feet stay planted where the floor feels predictable. Too many voices, too many eyes. So they wait, quietly telling themselves, not yet. Or the classroom. The bell rings, the door is open, and the child lingers outside. They know the teacher is kind. They know the room. But crossing that threshold feels like stepping into a place where every mistake will be noticed before it's forgiven. So they stay still, using silence as a shield. Then there's the child who is loud and alive at home, but becomes invisible the moment someone unfamiliar enters the room. The words don't disappear. They retreat, waiting for the world to soften. Adults call this shyness. The child experiences it as survival. And survival always leaves a mark. What most people miss is this. A shy child is not afraid of people. They are afraid of what happens inside when attention lands on them. Their body remembers moments when being noticed felt sharp, when a raised eyebrow felt like judgment, when a simple question felt like a test they never agreed to take. So the child learns something quietly. If they stay smaller, less visible, less noticeable, fewer things can hurt them. Their silence is not emptiness. It is a strategy. A careful calculation made before the mind has language for it. And underneath that strategy lives a deeper fear. The fear of being too much, or not enough, at the same time. So the child chooses invisibility, believing it is easier to carry than disappointment. Their nervous system learns its oldest rule early. Stay small. Stay safe. But safety always has a price. When I first understood this, it didn't feel like psychology. It felt like childhood, finally being translated into words I could follow. A shy child does not retreat because they lack courage. They retreat because the world feels too intense for the size of their nervous system. Pulling back is how they regulate overwhelm, how they shrink the moment until it fits inside something familiar. But here's the paradox. The quieter they become on the outside, the louder their inner world grows. Silence becomes their safest language, even as it separates them from others. Every shy child carries an unspoken belief. That visibility comes with a cost they cannot afford. If they are truly seen, they might be misunderstood, or rejected, or changed by someone else's reaction. So they stay close enough to watch, but far enough not to risk. For many shy children, speaking is not simple. It is a negotiation with every possible outcome. One wrong word feels like it could change how they are seen forever. So the mind speaks loudly where the mouth cannot. Overthinking replaces voice. The ego steps in early, offering quiet as armor. It is not cruel. It is protective. But it learns a rule that lasts too long. If I stay small, nothing can break me. And that rule follows the child into adulthood. Every shy child carries a small room inside them. A room built before they had words to explain why it felt necessary. Inside that room, everything is controlled, predictable, sized to their breathing. The walls are close, but gentle. They protect the child from moments that arrive too loud or too fast. Inside, the child can exist without being seen. But even the smallest room has cracks. Light slips in when someone speaks softly. When laughter arrives unexpectedly. When fear loosens for just a moment. The room doesn't break. It warms. Over time, the child notices something new. A doorway. An opening that doesn't demand leaving, only noticing. And slowly, they realize the door was never locked. It was waiting. There comes a moment when the shy child begins to understand what their body was doing all along. Shrinking was not a weakness. It was care. Protection. A nervous system doing its best in a world that once felt too much. That understanding changes something. Shyness stops feeling like a flaw to fix and starts feeling like a story to honor. Fear doesn't disappear, but it loosens. The walls don't fall, but they widen. The doorway becomes an option, not a test. There is no rush, no demand to step through. Only the quiet knowledge that movement is possible when safety is respected. And that knowledge matters more than confidence ever could.
I'm still learning. Stories like this remind me that quietness isn't something to fix. It's something to understand. That's how my English grows. And how my understanding of people does too. Thanks for studying with me. I'll see you in the next story.